Hello my friends, this is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q, and I'm once again in my kitchen. Today I'm going to be making something a little different. I found some leftover barbecue pulled pork in my freezer yesterday, so I decided to thaw it out and cook it today. And asked hubby, what do you want me to do with it? And he says, how about cornbread and pulled pork? So I took it a little step further and I said, I'm going to make a barbecue cornbread pulled pork type casserole. Let's do this. Come on over and let me show you the ingredients that are going to go into this bad boy. These are all the ingredients that are going to go into my barbecue pulled pork cornbread. I've got pulled pork here, which was previously frozen. I smoked it sometime last year, and I just took it out and I shredded it a little more so it'll be more bite-sized pieces. I've got 1.5 cups of cornmeal, got a cup of flour. I've got some corn here, which is whole kernel corn, which I actually food processed to make it more like a cream corn. In addition, I'm also going to be putting in the whole kernel corn, and that's 1 can. This is a 15.25 ounce can. I've got cheddar cheese, that's 4 ounces. I've got almond milk, which I added 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and that was an attempt to make it more sour and more like a buttermilk. I've also got some sugar, and with the sugar, this is only 2 tablespoons. You can add more, you can add less. If you want a less sweet cornbread, leave it out. If you want a more sweetened cornbread, put it in. This is my baking powder, and that's a tablespoon. Here I have baking soda, that's a teaspoon, salt, 1 teaspoon, 2 eggs, which I'm going to beat before mixing. Then I've got some dehydrated jalapenos that I actually dehydrated myself from my garden this past summer. And I just flake that up, and it will rehydrate when it goes into this mixture. I've got butter, that's a 1/2 cup of butter, which I'm going to melt. And those are all the ingredients. Let's put this baby together. I'm going to start off by combining all my dry ingredients. There's the cornmeal, all-purpose flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt, dehydrated jalapenos. And we'll just combine all that so we get a homogeneous mixture and everything is distributed evenly throughout the flours and the cornmeal. Next we'll combine all the wet ingredients, and this is my almond milk with the white vinegar in it. I'm going to add the butter. Give that a swish around. And that butter should not be hot because we're going to put the eggs in there and we don't want the eggs to scramble. Next I'm going to add in my creamed corn. And you maybe want to ask the question, why did I process it? And I just thought that instead of having the whole kernels, that if I added cream corn, that would make it a little bit more creamy or fluffy or not as dense and dry. Swish that around a bit. Then I'm going to add all of this to my dry mixture. The whole corn kernels and the cheese I won't add in until after I've combined the dry mixture with this wet. Now I'm going to combine my wet ingredients with my flour and cornmeal. That's my cornbread batter, which I'm now going to add the whole kernel corn. And this corn was drained, so all the liquid was taken off of it. And I'm going to add the cheddar cheese. I'm now going to prep my pork, and this is going to go on the bottom of the pan, and the cornbread is going to go over the top. This pulled pork, when it was prepared and frozen, did not have any sauce on it. Just had a little bit of the juices that were in the bottom of the pan of the pulled pork, and that's it. Optional. If you want to put a barbecue sauce or some other flavoring on it, or even just a little salt and pepper, you can. That's totally optional. I know that this is seasoned, I tasted it, and so I'm just going to go in at first with enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Keeping in mind that I still need to put in the cornbread batter. As I mentioned before, it's optional. You can put some barbecue sauce or some other flavoring in. I'm going to put a little bit in here. And this is just my favorite barbecue sauce. You can put in whatever barbecue sauce you want. And I thinned it out with a little bit of apple juice. I'm now going to add the cornbread mixture. Looks like it's all going to fit. Now we'll even out the cornbread on the top. Spread it evenly over that pork. Once you've got it all spread out, it's now ready to go in the oven. Now there are some optional things that you can do at this point. And one of them is to spread a layer of shredded cheese on top. Or you can just bake it like this and do what I'm going to probably do, is then take a mixture of that same barbecue sauce I had, put a little bit of butter in it, and just spread it all over the top. I'm going to bake this at 375 degrees convection, and I'll wait until it looks done. Should be within 25 to 30 minutes. Keeping in mind the pork's already done. My barbecue cornbread casserole is done, and what I'm going to do is brush the top of it with a mixture of butter and some of that barbecue sauce that I use to put on the pulled pork before we put the cornbread on. Just going to glaze the top. We're going to let it cool off a little bit before we cut into it. This is our barbecue pulled pork cornbread. We've got pulled pork at the bottom, and that was smoked pork. We've also got a cornbread on top, and that cornbread has corn kernels, jalapeno, and cheddar cheese.